Welcome, Kathy
Thank
Levy
you.
from Canada, executive producer of dance from the National Arts Center. What is that a kind of job?
Well, I get to present fabulous performances like Louise Lecavalier, which is great.
It looks like a hobby.
It's not a hobby, it's a lot of work. We put together a season that runs from September to June every year. And in fact, Louise will be in our season on the 30th and 31st of March with this work. We also contribute to the creation of new work through co-production, financial support, and sometimes residency support. And we've been a partner with Louise for a number of years. I believe in her so much as an artist, so she's been someone that I've loved to present and to support. But we also bring artists from all over Canada and around the world, and many from the Netherlands. We have NDT coming next year, and we've brought others, Dutch National we brought as well, and some younger folks, Beppie Blankert back in the day, and Anouk van Dijk. So we try to stay as familiar as possible with artists coming from various countries.
So you are a bridge between Canada and Holland, and you know, yes, Louise for many, many, many years. Please take us back in history. You saw Louise, of course, dancing as with La 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 Human Steps.
Exactly.
How was it?
Unforgettable, of course. She's a force of nature then and still now. We first saw her dancing with La 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 in the early works, including Human Sex and New Demons. She was a tornado, really. She showed us an incredible amount of strength, yet also a beauty and a vulnerability. And I was thinking about that. This is the third time I've seen this work. I had the chance to see it in Canada before. And I was thinking that, you know, even though her work is different now and time has gone by and she's pursued different creative influences, that's still such a beautiful element of the work that she puts out there, that there's incredible strength and also a grace and a delicacy. I think
she was famous because of her twist flips.
The barrel turn, yes.
The barrel turns, the
yes.
horizontal. We have a photo from it,
yes.
and
a
small video, a short video. Maybe you... It's like that horizontal twist. Was it new in the time that men and women are dancing so equal? Because she's lifting the man. Yes. Looks like very easily.
Yes, I think it was. I think that the work that she developed with Edward Locke and that dancer is Marc Ballin, who was her partner in the company for many years. I think that what they were showing us was, well, why can't women lift men? How do we break away from this stereotype, if you will, that was very much in Western classical ballet, but carried over also into contemporary dance? And of course, women can also show that strength. Everybody made a huge deal of it because we hadn't seen it before, and it was quite fantastic. There's also times when she is lifted, but she's showing in this work, I think, that her presence and her strength is equal to that of the male partner. I was saying to Annette before that there's other work that she did where they developed choreography where she was dancing also with another woman, and they would be lifting each other. So it really broke down, I guess, what we expected to see, these stereotypes that we expected to see, and it became a signature, I think, of Edward's work as they developed this work together.
And was it also for the Canadian society special? Because there are very famous Canadian dance leaders, female dance leaders. They have their own companies like Louise, but also Crystal Pite and also Marie Chouinard. And what is special for the Canadian society that this is possible?
Well, I think, you know, Canada's a very young country, comparatively speaking. We have a much shorter history than many of the countries in Europe, and particularly in dance. But we have to remember that in the 1930s and in the 1950s, for example, the three major ballet companies that were founded were each founded by women. Two of them in Winnipeg, the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, which is still going strong. Two women that came from the UK. Celia Franca, who was invited from London as an immigrant to come and form the National Ballet of Canada, which is also still going today. And Ludmila Shiryaev, who came from Latvia to Canada and formed Lecavalier Canadienne, which is also still growing strong.
So even in the classical ballet,
Exactly.
because in the most part of the world, it isn't not familiar that women are leading classical ballet companies.
Because these companies then, after many, many years, were taken over by men, not because the women were pushed out, but because they retired or moved on or whatever. But so we know them perhaps in more recent history, except for the National Ballet, which was run by Karen Kane for many years. But we know those companies in more recent history as companies that were led by men. But in fact, we have to be reminded, in terms of your question, that these women had very strong influence. And I think because those were some of the first Western companies, we always saw that women could be leaders. I also think that, many artists, particularly women, have to form their own companies in order to get their work done. They don't necessarily get the opportunities to be hired as in-house choreographers for other companies, and they have a burning desire to make work. And so they form their own structures around them in order to get that work out there and to get it touring. You mentioned Marie Chouinard and Crystal Pite and Louise, three fabulous women that you're all getting a chance to see. Very lucky that they're all have been or will be here. Don't miss the next performances.
So they're creating their own chances
Exactly,
also.
exactly. But many others as well. I mean, we think of next generation artists like Rodney Desir and Clara Fury and Louise Bedard and others. Sorry.
And
most
like
importantly.
Louise Lecavalier.
Most
There she
importantly.
is. May you have a warm applause. Hi. I will get you a mic. Yeah, there. So, Louise, we're just talking about the importance of female leaders in Canada. They have their own company, and they are creating their own chances to be on stage. So, how did you do it? Like being now 64 and having your own company, but also your own solo, your own work after such an impressive career. How did you organize it? How did you do it?
I have to think it very simple to dance, because if I think it's something really big, then it would be too scary. So I just go in the studio and improvise and create, and it's a thing of a day at a time. I don't think of a big career that I had before. It's like the past, I don't have to think about it. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not there. I guess it's there. But even the scientists are not so sure about it. So,
so you be in the moment?
Kind of, yeah. It would be lying to say that sometimes I don't have the pressure, but mainly the pressure that I put on myself is just myself. It's not the outside. If I'm not satisfied with a day, it's me, and I learn over the time to be more satisfied with a day of work, instead of judging and saying it's not good enough, it's never going to be good enough. I think that's what it was today, and maybe there's some good things there, and it's going to evolve from there.
So would that be the advice to the younger Louise from 30 years ago? Be more satisfied with?
I'm more satisfied than
No.
at the beginning. Yeah, at the beginning, I don't want to regret, but after the shows, I was often checking on the few details that were not seemingly perfect, but in fact they were perfect. They were the way they were, because that's how we performed them. But I was so meticulous, and it was a bit too extreme.
Too extreme, yeah. And Cassie, now we make a jump to the Louise we saw on stage. What is the difference you see with the Louise now and the Louise from 30 years ago? Can you mention some or maybe some difference, but also some same?
Well, I was talking before you joined us, Louise, about how what's still amazing to me in all of the work, and I've had the great fortune of seeing all of the work that you've done since you went out on your own, if you will. asking choreographers to make work for you, with you, as well as your own choreography, is that there's this, as the time has gone by and you've been exploring different things, there's this incredible, unmatchable strength and physicality, but also this grace and this emotion. And this is the third time I've seen Stations, and I can still see it so present. So sure, we can talk about the difference then, the difference now, and you know, we both have children in their 20s. I mean, that changes us, doesn't it? I mean, you know, women have that kind of balancing act to do. That affects all of us and all of our work, just as one idea. But at its base, those qualities are still very, very present for me. Even if the movement that you're creating or the things you choose to do with your body have evolved. So for me, it's really a process, and I'll follow you for as long as you want to make work. I'm your audience.
And we follow, Louise, we always follow, also follow you on the journey on stage. What are the mental states from Stations you are going through?
It's really hard to explain this. It's 4 pieces for me, or the last one is more variations in it, but they are different. But on stage, I cannot. I'm just totally fragile, and I'm fighting for my life on stage. So whatever the section is, you know, I have things in my mind when I created them, lots of things in my mind, but sometimes it's better I don't say them so much, because I don't want to color, and I don't even want to imprint this in me so much that I'm stuck with one meaning, because the piece, I'm dancing it for 3 years, so it's changing how I perceive it. Sometimes I go back to my initial ideas.
What was an initial idea?
Well, ideas, it's not exactly ideas, but for example, the first dance, I was trying to explore like something that we work a lot as dancer, finding a texture in the movement, like density of the space, like not just going through the air that we don't see, but it's full of things, you know, trying to feel and feel and feel everything in the space around me. So I called it a little meditative, maybe section, the first one. The second one, there was something animalistic about it, and very heavy and very light. Like I thought I was an elephant and a bird at the same time, like very anchored in the floor and trying to fly. And I was not only an elephant and a bird, I was also just a human. But there was the idea of fire, the burning the planet. It was, for me, it was a dance that was outside. The second part. The third part is more playful and dancey. And the fourth part is like trying to get everything of this all together and more, you know. But here I go, I talk about what I had in mind.
But it's interesting when you say that. So just, Annette asked me this question about what has changed for you as a dancer and a choreographer, but I'm curious to just have you talk about that. I mean, this is a very rich 15, 20 years working with all of these different artists, working on your own choreography. How do you look at that arc of change with what you're pushing and exploring?
It's like everything was there right at the beginning when I started to dance, well, especially with Edward. Before that, I was maybe naturally a dancer, and then I went to dance company, modern contemporary dance company. It's like I lost a little bit who I was, because I wanted to fix myself in the choreography and the classes, the technical classes, to achieve what everybody could do, and then you can compare and measure and say, oh, I'm not good enough there, or maybe this I succeeded a little bit good, and I lost a bit my sense of movement, and that's why I wanted to quit dance at 22, I think. I started at 16 and 22. It's not that I thought that I was so excellent, but I thought, if something's missing, I'm not talking. I didn't invite my friends to the shows because I thought, it's contemporary dance. I kind of like it for the challenge of learning it, but not to show it to my friends because it doesn't talk about who we are in 1990 something. Then I saw the work of Edward Locke before even I worked with him, and this I really liked. And finally, he phoned me to work with him, which was a big surprise. And it was not a magical meeting right away, but gradually I got to really be myself in this company, because there was no class together. There was not all the ceremonies that dancers go through. It was something else. It was freer, and maybe that was better for me. And then I discovered who I was as a dancer. It was very powerful to find this. And then I was not complexed anymore by I'm not this dancer or that dancer or this other one. It was just like, I'm dancing. That's plainly enough. And I think everything was there, and it's just that it's just pouring more and more. Because I thought Edward was so brilliant a choreographer that I didn't think I could choreograph myself. Because how could I compare myself to the best? Well, I think one of the best choreographers in the world is in this capacity of putting movement together. Many choreographers are interesting because they make nice mise en scène, but the dancers often create the work, the dance work. I recognize the style of the dancers. But Edward was really creating a dance, very his. So it was super interesting, and I thought super beautiful. So I was kind of, I can't create compared to that. But then after, when I left the company, I asked some people to create for me. I was a bit shy to ask people, create something for me, you know. Who am I, you know? There's so many good dancers. So then gradually I got into improvising and thinking, maybe I can. And I had more and more fun improvising and finding my own path.
So you find yourself as choreographer now, for the last 10 years maybe, with Fou Glorieux.
Yeah, but the word choreographer, I don't give so much attachment. I have not so much attachment to it, but I do choreograph, yeah.
You still fierce to use that?
No, it's because I like better to be a dancer than a choreographer.
But a dance maker. Yeah.
The dance is the most fun part to do. But choreograph is because I'm dancing it. I wouldn't like to choreograph sitting on a chair and saying to people what to do. This I wouldn't like.
So now I'm looking at the audience. Are there some questions, remarks, emotions, and we will repeat the question.
I had 3 stories while watching you. You were born out of a mother with a gifted talent, and you made yourself a beautiful dancer. That is one theory. I think it was before, while you were the 9 months in the belly of your mother, you started dancing. But I have another theory. God saw you dancing, and he thought, I have to send this woman down to earth to make this believable. Thank you very much.
Oh, I love this third one.
I will repeat it with for the this spectacle. There's 3 theaters that you was born for dance, that you was born from your mother as a dancer, that you was a dancer in the belly of your mother already, or that God sent you to earth to stay.
He saw her.
He saw her
I have to send her down to earth.
to send her down to earth as a dancer first.
I like this.
Well, I was really impressed also with all the physical movement. So I was wondering, how do you keep in shape?
How do you keep in shape? I'm wondering too, how do you keep in shape?
It's just like Obelix. I fell in the potion when I was young, or maybe in the time of God, he put me in the potion. I don't know, because I don't specially train to be so fit, but my day-to-day life, I'm alive all the time very much, physically and mentally. It's too much, maybe even. But no, I mean, I'm calm sometimes, but I think I work so hard, so many years, that it's inbred in my body now. I trained for so many years that now I don't have to go do marathons and things like this.
Fitness? You're doing fitness?
I do once in a while, but not that much. But dancing a few hours in the studio, the type of dance that I do is very demanding.
And we saw some boxing
I
movements.
used to do boxing, but that was when I was very injured and I couldn't do the ballet classes or any kind of class. I did boxing and I got really interested in it. Some people were in my class. And I thought it was a very good way to warm up a lot. And because when I had this injury, if I was so warm from exercise of boxing, then nothing hurt anymore for a couple of hours, so I could dance. And I stopped boxing after my hip was repaired.
And I saw in the performance also you doing like tears. You are weeping tears
Yeah.
from. You are smiling. What does it refer to?
It refers to so many things. But I play it as a game on stage, but I thought, why not put this movement there? It came as it came in the studio, but I thought it was perfect that it came. But it's not one specific story. There can be many.
Yeah. And we spoke a few minutes before you go on stage, and then you said, "Oh, where are the bananas?" How do you prepare for this hour? With eating bananas?
Yeah, the bananas I don't eat when I don't perform because it's just specifically when I perform I eat bananas because they make me avoid the cramps in the legs, and also it fills a little bit your stomach. So because it's very stressful for me still to perform on stage. In the studio I'm fine, I'm not so stressed, but in stage I'm stressed, and not every kind of food can feel comfortable in the stomach.
So you're still nervous?
Oh, yes,
Yes?
really nervous.
But I would also add that for many years that I've been presenting dance, bananas are the most asked for food by all dancers after, for the reasons that Louise says. They're immediate sugar, energy, not hard on the stomach, whether you're nervous or not. It's the thing we
So
go through more bananas than anything.
Not the salad, just dancers are eating
Not right away.
only
Not the
salad.
salads before dancing.
That's
not
a
the raw
cliché,
meat
eh?
Before dancing, no.
No, that's a cliche. And after the show, what will you do?
I can eat everything after the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And drink.
And drink.
So-
Yeah.
Are there some questions left?
When you think of making a piece, you've got some ideas in your mind, then first you have to either ask someone to write music or to pick out music, but the music is fixed, and you just told us that your ideas and the way you perform changes over time. How can the music make space for you to change your feelings?
Okay.
So when you start your ideas of preparing a show, you choose the music. So the music is on score, it's fixed. But how give the music you space for improvising?
The music, however fixed it is fixed because, it is. The musician is not live on stage. But me, I count the music in so many different ways. I can change my interpretation of how I hear the music. There's the square normal way to write it. That's when you can write the music and it's very specific. But it's funny in the studio, often France, the rehearsal person I work with, she's counting in a way and I'm counting the music with much more notes. For me, there's more notes than what we hear. So sometimes I interpret differently on the music. Like I hear something else, or my body makes another music. So I'm not making movement corresponding to the music. I'm making, like I'm another instrument. So the music is fixed, but I'm the new instrument in this music. So I'm free.
So you're talking, you're playing a dialogue with the music?
Yeah. Like sometimes there's big cues and I avoid them. I don't take them. Sometimes I do take them, but I really make sure that I'm not taking all the really steady cues of the music, because then it's too predictable that everything goes at the same place at the same time.
And it
prefer
depends on
when
the
there's
mood.
Tension.
It depends on the mood of the day?
It's not depending on the mood. It's like I'm trying to keep the piece alive all the time and to be kind of real on the moment and have fun with what's there for me. The lights, the music, the difficulties that are there for me, I must accept, because I'm blinded on stage a lot, so it's much more difficult to dance on stage than in a studio. And some stages are worse than others. Here was really, really, really black, because there's no separation in the middle of the ici, and it's all black. So I could see nothing at all.
There's
Even
no
in the
color.
bows, just at the end, I saw people. So it's a black hole. But other theaters, the lights are placed differently, less strong, less lights, then I see better. So I have to play with the ingredients that are available instead of having, so I like to feel free still with the choreography.
Okay, so we will close this conversation, but I have one question. You're still dreaming. What is the next dream for the next performance, next project, next?
I never have dreams. I always dream just of dance, but now I don't, like...
Is there a life after dance for you?
I don't, because dancing is so natural. I mean, you can, even if I stop performing for an audience, I will still be a body that's moving. So until I'm dying, so then I'm always dancing. But I never wanted to think about when, what, all these things, because so many questions we can't answer. So it's a bit a loss of time to try to fix things that we don't know. It's like, if I don't have an answer for you, I prefer say I don't have an answer than say an answer that won't be true. So it's a bit like science, because I'm reading Lecavalier right now, a mathematician, and he's talking about time, and it makes me unclear in my answer, because even the scientists are unclear about the time. So how can I talk about the future? Maybe the future is already there, you know?
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. Cassie Levy and Louise Lecavalier, thanks for coming. See you next time in Schietmacher.